It looks to me, at least at this point, that the USA will not win this fight with the whole world. Of course, it's still early days, lots of things to be uncertain about, but perhaps the story of 2025 will be Trump fought the world and the world won. The USA looks like it has chosen to fight the world. China, Europe, Iran, maybe Canada, Greenland, for goodness sake, Yemen, one of the poorest countries in the world, pathetic, you might say. And with its tariff war, its trade war, it has chosen to fight pretty much every country in the world, even the Australian territories of the McDonald and Heard Islands, where there are only penguins. It looks to me, at least at this point, that the USA will not win this fight with the whole world. Of course, it's still early days, lots of things to be uncertain about, but perhaps the story of 2025 will be Trump fought the world and the world won. I'm Jeff Rich. This is the Burning Archive, and I talk about world history and world affairs, including geopolitics. So in today's stream, in today's video, what I want to look at is give you my assessment of the USA government in 2025, the Trump administration's foreign policy. What is it? Is it change? Is it revolutionary change? Is it chaos? Or is it continuity, as people like Brian Beletic argue? Or is it something else? And I'm going to suggest, for the sake of our discussion here on YouTube, for the sake of just lifting the quality of the discussion, that it is something else. It's not just empire business as usual. It is something of a cultural twist based on American culture and institutions. I'm really going to focus in on what I see as the sort of socio-cultural patterns really driving the Trump administration. There are a lot of, I guess, realist international relations people and defense and foreign policy people. But I guess the perspective I take on geopolitics and world history is a kind of a socio-cultural perspective, and trying to see some of the sort of emotional and other sort of patterns that seem to drive things, the kind of myths and stories that are sort of behind some of the decision-making, the sometimes hard to explain decision-making of leading officials like President Trump or Pete Hegseth. So my assessment of the foreign policy. Now, let's just read some announcements that have literally just come through on the news feed right now. I'll actually read it from my phone. So the United States delivers a Panama Canal ultimatum to China. The United States has vowed to take back the Panama Canal from Chinese influence and has launched a series of military deployments and joint exercises with Panama to reinforce that commitment, according to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. And then also in the newsfeed, we have the announcement by the United States government spokesperson, Tammy Bruce, former Fox News presenter, that the date and agenda of the next Russia-US talks have been announced. And interestingly, the official has said that these talks are solely focused on our embassy operations, not on normalising a bilateral relationship overall, which can only happen, as we've noted, once there is peace between not Russia and the United States, but between Russia and Ukraine. There are no political or security issues on the agenda, and Ukraine is not, absolutely not, on the agenda. It is those peace talks going on between Russia and the US, as I think I might have said when I did my initial assessment of them a month or two ago, are very much about establishing the most basic levels of diplomatic relations and confidence-building measures between the states. So don't expect a sudden peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine anytime soon. Let me give you an example of what I think is the essence of the United States foreign policy right at the moment. And this is from the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller. He's been a long-time member of the Trump camp, an advocate of tough immigration policies. I believe he might have been the principal author of the initial American Carnage inauguration address back in 2017, and perhaps also the golden age, the new golden age of America inauguration address more recently. And this is a quote from his appearance recently on Fox News after the tariff announcement, and you can see in the little the sort of information there at the bottom of the screen that, you know, it's occurring in the context of, you know, major drops in stock market prices after the tariff announcement. And Stephen Miller says, why should America protect the world, send foreign aid to the world, defend the world, provide for the world, and in exchange get ripped off by every other country in the world? It's a little bit of a piece with, you know, J.D. Vance talking to Volodymyr Zelensky in the White House, and despite a million Ukrainians dying, or, you know, up to 1 million Ukrainians dying in the service of US geopolitical objectives, it's Volodymyr Zelensky who should be saying thank you to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. There is a real sense of resentment, I think, coming out of US officials. And in fact, if I were to have a single word to describe US foreign policy right now, it is resentment. Resentment against the world, and how the world has, you know, climbed up to the same high plateau of social, economic, political and cultural achievement as the United States. The world is as much in a golden age as America, and the United States is not happy about it. And I guess my perspective on the whole overview of the United States foreign policy is that it is helpful to think about, you know, if you like, what is the governing emotion that's driving these decision makers, the decisions, even in government, surprise, surprise, are partly driven by emotions and emotional contexts and the passions expressed on Signal chat groups as much as by rational decision-making processes, rational assessments of game theories and all that kind of thing. Emotions drive us all to make decisions, even in foreign policy. And I think the emotion of resentment is very much the governing emotion of the Trump administration at the moment, and probably not only the Trump administration. In a way, I would also say you could see that under the Biden administration. There was that infamous speech by Joe Biden to the Congress at one point, where he said, name me a single world leader who would exchange places with Xi Jinping. That was an expression of anger and resentment. And that resentment is, I think, driven by a sense of let down supremacy. Let's go back to this comment from Stephen Miller. Why should America protect the world? Well, has America protect the world? Why should America send foreign aid to the world? Well, has it really given all that? It's not a particularly generous donor in terms of foreign aid, or an effective donor in foreign aid. Is it defending the world, or is it aggressively pursuing American interests around the world? Is it really, frankly, providing for the world, the United States? And surely it's not really being ripped off by every other country in the world, even though its really strange assessment of tariffs are driven by that sort of sentiment. So I think this, resentment, like if you think about when you resent something personally, it's often driven by a kind of a disappointed expectation, a disappointed sense of entitlement, I guess. And the American foreign policy elites across the board, I think, are very much driven by this shattered expectation that the world looks up to America, that America is the light on the hill, that America has created this wonderful rules-based order. It's Pax America, even though it's been full of wars, and that the world is not sufficiently grateful, that as a result, America feels ripped off. And so, yes, I think this sentiment of this emotion of resentment, driven by a sense of disappointed supremacism and American primacy, American exceptionalism, is, I think, best described as American supremacism. As Madeleine Albright said, we stand taller, we see further, we have more capabilities than the lesser peoples of the world. In Madeleine Albright's case, that was sometimes expressed in an ethnic prejudice as well.